Welcome to Mind Set in Stone podcasts, where we dive deep into the most compelling books on the shelf. Join hosts Dave and Poppy as they uncover the stories, themes, and ideas that shape our understanding and inspire curiosity. Get ready to explore the big ideas that leave a lasting impact. Let's get started.
Hey there, are you ready to unlock the power of your mind? We're diving into the world of manifestation.
But not the mystical kind.
Exactly. We're going where science meets self-help and exploring how manifesting intersects with your incredible brain.
It's really fascinating because we're moving beyond just wishful thinking. We're grounding manifestation in the concrete reality of neuroscience.
We're going to uncover practical techniques based on how your brain really works.
Right. Not just feel-good fluff.
We'll get ready for mind-blowing stories.
Yeah.
Like Jim Carrey manifesting a $10 million check.
Wow.
A harrowing tale of getting lost in the Amazon.
And even possums. You might be wondering what possums have to do with manifestation.
We'll get to that.
These examples might seem random, but they really highlight how understanding your brain can empower you to shape your reality.
Okay, so first up, the neuroscience of manifesting. It all starts with 4 key brain networks. Think of it as a team working inside your head.
You have the default mode network. It's active when your mind wanders daydreams. It helps you reflect on the past and imagine the future. And then there's the central executive network, your brain's focused CEO, making decisions, solving problems in the present moment.
We also have the salience network, which is constantly scanning your environment for what's important and helps you filter information and focus on what matters most.
And finally, the attention network. This one acts like a spotlight, allowing you to concentrate on specific tasks or thoughts.
I can see how this relates to manifesting. It's like shining that spotlight on your goals.
It's not just about thinking positive thoughts. It's about engaging these different parts of your brain to work towards your goals.
So these networks don't work in isolation. They constantly interact.
Right.
And when it comes to manifesting this, teamwork is key.
It is. It's really about understanding how these networks can work together to turn your intentions into actions.
And ultimately into reality. That makes a lot of sense. It's not just about thinking positive thoughts. It's about engaging different parts of your brain to work toward your goals.
That's it. And a great example of this is the story of Anula, an aspiring medical student.
Oh, yeah, I remember her story.
She had this big dream of becoming a doctor, but she faced some serious obstacles along the way.
We were talking about her moving to a new country with her family.
Yeah.
The financial struggles, her mom's breast cancer diagnosis.
Yes. All very stressful situations that could have easily derailed her dream. These kinds of stressors trigger the sympathetic nervous system, the one responsible for the fight or flight response.
Right, it makes sense.
It can make it hard to focus and think clearly, especially when it comes to long-term goals.
So how did she overcome those challenges? It wasn't just willpower, was it?
Willpower is part of it, but Anula also understood the importance of activating her parasympathetic nervous system.
The rest and digest system.
Right, the one that counteracts stress. She used techniques like relaxation and visualization to calm her nervous system and bring those 4 key brain networks back online.
So it's like she was intentionally shifting her brain state to be more focused and receptive to her goals.
Exactly. And Anula also used a technique she learned as a child called metta, or loving-kindness meditation.
Okay.
By focusing on compassion, not just for herself, but for others, she shifted her perspective and boosted her motivation.
It's amazing how something as simple as meditation can have such a profound impact on the brain and our ability to achieve our goals. I think we often underestimate the power of these practices.
Absolutely. It's not just about positive thinking. It's about actively regulating your internal state to create the right conditions for manifesting your goals.
This leads to a really interesting question. How much control do we actually have over our lives? We often feel powerless, like things just happen to us. But is that really true?
That feeling of being stuck or powerless is often a story our brains tell us, a story that might not even be true. The concept of anosognosia highlights this.
Anosognosia.
It's a condition where patients with paralysis genuinely believe they can move their limbs.
That's fascinating and a little bit scary. It suggests that our perception of reality, even our sense of self-agency, is constructed by our brains, and that this construction isn't always accurate.
It's not, and that's why reclaiming our sense of self-agency is so crucial. It's about recognizing that inherent power you have to shape your reality.
So it's not some mystical force granting wishes. It's about understanding the very real power of your brain and using it intentionally. But how do we actually do that? What are some practical steps?
There are a few simple practices that can help you build that sense of agency.
Okay.
For example, there's the relaxing the body technique, where you consciously relax different muscle groups, and the concept of tiny habits, where you start with small, achievable actions to build momentum. We'll dive deeper into those a little later.
It sounds like it's about taking those small steps, those tiny actions, to prove to ourselves that we have the power to change.
It is. It's about shifting from a mindset of, I can't, to I can, even if it's just a tiny can at first.
That makes a lot of sense. It's about building that belief in ourselves, that sense of, I am capable of making things happen.
Right.
But what about those pesky mental obstacles that seem to hold us back? Those negative beliefs and self-doubt?
Oh, we all have them.
Yeah.
Those sticky notes from childhood that whisper, you're not good enough, or you'll never succeed.
It can be so insidious.
They operate on a subconscious level, influencing our actions without us even realizing it.
It's like there are these hidden programs running in the background, sabotaging our efforts before we even get started.
The first step is acknowledging these beliefs. Shine a light on them, bring them into conscious awareness.
Got it.
From there, self-compassion is the antidote to the inner critic.
So instead of beating ourselves up for having these negative thoughts, we offer ourselves kindness and understanding.
Exactly. It's about creating a safe haven within yourself, a space where you can heal those old wounds and start to rewrite those negative beliefs.
That reminds me of the story of Shankar Hemedy.
Oh, yeah.
He grew up believing there's not enough, and you're not enough. But a simple act of generosity from his school teacher helped him challenge those beliefs and unlock his potential.
Shankar's story really shows the transformative power of compassion,
Right.
both for ourselves and for others.
It's about recognizing our shared humanity and supporting each other's growth.
It is.
It's a powerful reminder that sometimes all it takes is one person, one act of kindness to shift our entire perspective.
And we have a practice for you.
Oh, great.
The self-compassion practice. It helps you visualize offering kindness to your inner critic.
I like it.
You'll learn to recognize those negative thoughts and respond with understanding and care.
It sounds like it's about retraining our brains to be more supportive and encouraging rather than critical and judgmental.
It is. And when we cultivate self-compassion, it creates a physiological shift in the brain, activating the parasympathetic nervous system and fostering healing and growth.
Okay, so we've talked about the brain networks involved in manifesting the importance of self-agency and self-compassion. But how do we actually embed our intentions into our brains? How do we convince our brains that our goals are worth pursuing?
Remember how we said the brain is an energy miser? It's constantly filtering information, deciding what's important and what to ignore. It's like your email inbox.
Right.
You can't possibly read every message, so you prioritize what's urgent or relevant.
So if we want our intentions to become reality, we need to make them a priority for our brains.
You got it. We need to convince our brains that they are important, and we do this through repetition, positive emotions, and visualization.
Repetition makes sense. It's like practicing a new skill or learning a new language. The more we do it, the more ingrained it becomes in our brains.
And positive emotions are key because they signal to the brain that this is something worth paying attention to. Think about it. You're more likely to remember an experience that made you feel happy or excited than one that made you feel neutral or bored.
That's a really good point. So we need to find ways to infuse our intentions with positive emotions. But what about visualization? How does that work?
Visualization helps create a vivid mental image of your desired outcome, which activates the same brain regions as actually experiencing it.
Oh, wow.
It tricks your brain into believing that your goal is closer than it might seem.
So it's like we're creating a mental blueprint for our brains to follow.
Exactly. And the more detailed and emotionally charged the visualization, the more powerful the impact on the brain. This brings us back to Jim Carrey and his $10 million check.
He's a great example, right? He didn't just wish for success. He visualized it with such detail and conviction that his brain started to believe it was already happening.
He wasn't just visualizing the check itself. He was visualizing the feelings of joy, gratitude, and accomplishment that came with achieving his goal. That emotional intensity is crucial.
Okay, so it's about creating a multi-sensory experience in our minds and engaging not just our visual sense, but also our emotions and feelings.
That's right. It's about making the intention feel real to our brains.
So we've talked about the neuroscience of manifesting the importance of self-agency and self-compassion and the power of repetition, positive emotions, and visualization to embed our intentions.
Yeah.
But is manifesting just about personal gain, or can it be used for something bigger?
That's a great question. Manifesting isn't just about getting what you want. It can be a force for good in the world. It can be about aligning your intentions with a higher purpose and contributing to something larger than yourself.
So it's about using this power for positive change, not just for personal gain.
Exactly. And Lynn Twist's story is a perfect example of this. She experienced a profound shift, moving from a focus on treating hunger to preventing deforestation.
And that shift wasn't just philosophical, was it? It had tangible results.
It did. Lynn found that by aligning her work with a higher purpose, the universe seemed to conspire to support her. People were more willing to contribute, resources seemed to magically appear, and her impact expanded exponentially.
So it's like by tapping into a higher purpose, she unlocked a new level of energy and support.
Precisely. It's about recognizing that we're all connected, that our actions have ripple effects, and that by aligning our intentions with a greater good, we tap into a powerful force for positive change.
It's a reminder that manifesting isn't just about what we want, it's about what the world needs.
And we have another story that highlights this beautifully. It's about Amandine Roche and her journey to Kabul.
Oh yeah, I remember her.
She faced countless obstacles, from visa issues to political unrest, but she was determined to reach her destination. And through a series of unexpected encounters and synchronicities,
Wow.
she ultimately achieved her goal.
I remember that story. It was incredible how everything seemed to fall into place almost magically.
Those synchronicities weren't just luck. They were a reflection of her unwavering commitment to her purpose and her willingness to embrace the unexpected twists and turns of her journey.
It sounds like she was in a flow state aligned with her intention and open to the universe's guidance.
That's a great way to put it. She trusted that the right people and opportunities would appear at the right time, and they did. Amandine's story shows us that manifesting isn't always a straight line. There will be challenges and setbacks.
Right.
But by staying true to your intention and remaining open to possibilities, you can overcome those obstacles and achieve what you set out to do.
So it's not about forcing things to happen. It's about trusting the process and allowing things to unfold naturally.
Exactly. It's about surrendering to the journey, knowing that even the unexpected detours can lead to amazing destinations.
Okay, that's a lot to take in. We've covered so much ground, from the neuroscience of manifesting to the power of self-agency and self-compassion to the importance of aligning our intentions with a higher purpose. We've heard incredible stories of people overcoming challenges and achieving their dreams. But what happens when things don't go as planned? What about those inevitable setbacks and disappointments that life throws our way?
That's where we'll pick up in part 2.
Okay, sounds good.
We'll explore the importance of releasing expectations, embracing setbacks, and finding peace in the present moment even when things get tough. Stay tuned. Welcome back. As we continue exploring manifestation, it's important to remember that setbacks are a natural part of the process. They're opportunities for growth and learning, a chance to refine your approach and strengthen your resolve.
That's a good reminder. I think we can all relate to hitting a wall or feeling discouraged when things don't go according to plan. It's easy to get caught up in those feelings of disappointment and start doubting ourselves.
Right, and that's why cultivating equanimity is so essential. It's about finding that inner balance, that steadiness of mind that allows you to navigate challenges without losing sight of your goals.
You're talking about that ability to stay calm and centered even amidst chaos.
Right.
To not let setbacks completely derail us.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that setbacks are inevitable, but they don't have to define us or dictate our future. Think of it like surfing. You're not fighting against the waves. You're learning to ride them, adapting to their rhythm, and finding your balance amidst the turbulence.
I like that. That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
So how do we cultivate this equanimity? Is it something we're born with, or can we learn it?
It's a skill that can be developed through practice. And a beautiful illustration of this is the Japanese art of kintsugi.
Kintsugi. I'm not familiar with that.
Kintsugi translates to golden joinery, and it's the practice of repairing broken pottery with gold. Instead of trying to hide the cracks, they're highlighted, becoming part of the object's beauty and history.
Wow, that's powerful. It's like those cracks, those imperfections are seen as adding to the value and uniqueness of the object rather than detracting from it.
Exactly. It's about embracing imperfection and recognizing that our scars and challenges can be sources of strength and wisdom. They tell our story and make us who we are.
This reminds me of something you said earlier about anosognosia, where people with paralysis believe they can move their limbs. It's a reminder that our brains are constantly constructing our reality, and sometimes that construction isn't accurate. Perhaps those broken parts of ourselves, the parts we try to hide or deny, are actually integral to our wholeness.
That's a profound insight. It's about shifting from a mindset of, I need to be perfect to be worthy, to a mindset of, I am perfectly imperfect, and that's okay. It's about accepting ourselves' flaws and recognizing that our journey with all its twists and turns is what makes us unique and beautiful.
I'm starting to see how this connects to manifesting. We're not striving for some idealized, perfect version of ourselves as our lives. We're embracing the whole journey, imperfections and all.
Exactly. And that acceptance, that willingness to embrace the ups and downs is crucial for cultivating equanimity. It allows you to detach from the outcome, from needing everything to go exactly according to plan. You're no longer resisting the natural flow of life. You're flowing with it, adapting and evolving along the way.
It's about recognizing that we can't control everything, but we can control how we respond to what life throws at us.
Exactly. It's about finding that inner peace and acceptance, regardless of external circumstances.
This makes me think about Anula again. Remember all the challenges she faced on her path to becoming a doctor. I imagine there were moments of doubt and frustration, but she kept going. She didn't let those setbacks define her or derail her dream.
Anula's story is a beautiful example of resilience and adaptability. Those setbacks, those broken parts of her journey didn't diminish her. They refined her path, strengthened her resolve, and ultimately contributed to her success.
It's inspiring to hear these stories because they remind us that we're not alone in our struggles. We all face challenges, but it's how we respond to them that shapes our reality. So how can we apply this idea of kintsugi to our own lives? How do we start embracing those broken parts of ourselves and transform them into something beautiful and valuable?
One powerful practice is to shift your focus from resisting what is to accepting what is. Instead of getting caught up in the "why is this happening to me" mentality, start asking, what can I learn from this experience? Or how can I use this challenge as an opportunity for growth?
It's about reframing those negative experiences as opportunities for learning and transformation.
Precisely. And remember, this isn't about suppressing your emotions or pretending that everything is okay when it's not. It's about acknowledging those difficult feelings, allowing yourself to feel them fully, and then choosing to respond with grace and resilience.
So it's about finding that balance between acknowledging our pain and not letting it consume us.
Exactly. And that's where self-compassion comes in again. It's about treating ourselves with the same kindness and understanding that we would offer a dear friend.
This is starting to make a lot of sense to me. It's not about being perfect or having everything go smoothly. It's about learning to navigate the ups and downs of life with grace, resilience, and self-compassion.
And that inner state, that equanimity, is what empowers us to keep moving forward, to stay aligned with our intentions, and to create the reality we desire, even when faced with challenges.
So we're not just manifesting things. We're manifesting a way of being in the world, a state of mind that allows us to embrace the whole journey, imperfections and all.
Yeah.
But how do we actually cultivate this equanimity? Are there specific techniques or practices we can use to shift our perspective and find that inner peace?
Absolutely. There are many practices that can help. One powerful technique involves visualizing that tree we talked about earlier, the one representing your intention.
I remember that visualization. The tree with its roots grounded in the earth and its branches reaching towards the sky. What do we do with the tree this time?
Imagine that tree standing tall and strong, but notice that some of its leaves are withered and brown, perhaps even falling it to the ground. These represent those setbacks and challenges you've encountered on your journey.
Okay, I'm picturing those fallen leaves scattered around the base of the tree.
Now, instead of resisting those fallen leaves, those challenges, acknowledge them. Accept them as a natural part of the cycle of growth and decay. Just as a tree sheds its leaves to make way for new growth, so too must we release what no longer serves us.
This is reminding me of kintsugi again. Those fallen leaves, those challenges, they're not failures, they're part of the process. Part of what makes the tree, our intention, stronger and more beautiful.
Exactly. Now imagine a gentle rain falling on the tree, washing away those withered leaves, nourishing the soil, and creating space for new growth. This rain represents your acceptance, your willingness to let go of attachment to specific outcomes, and embrace the unfolding of your journey.
I'm feeling a sense of peace wash over me, like I'm surrendering to something larger than myself.
Good. Now, as you continue to visualize the rain nourishing the tree, connect with that deeper sense of okayness that exists within you, independent of external circumstances. It's a feeling of peace and acceptance, knowing that you are loved and supported no matter what.
I'm starting to feel that sense of okayness now. It's like a deep knowing that everything is unfolding as it should.
Wonderful. Now gently bring your attention back to your breath, noticing the rise and fall of your chest, the gentle flow of air in and out.
I'm back in my body feeling grounded and centered.
Remember this feeling, this sense of peace and acceptance. You can access it any time by returning to this practice, by visualizing that tree nourished by the rain, by connecting with that deeper sense of okayness that resides within you.
This is powerful.
Oh,
I'm realizing that equanimity isn't about being passive or emotionless. It's about finding that inner balance, that steadiness of mind that allows us to navigate challenges with grace and resilience.
precisely. And that inner balance, that equanimity is what empowers us to keep moving forward, stay aligned with our intentions, and create the reality we desire.
So we're not just manifesting things. We're manifesting a state of being, a way of navigating the world that allows us to embrace the whole journey, imperfections and all that. That brings up an intriguing question, though. What about those seemingly magical moments of alignment that help us achieve our goals? Those synchronicities that feel like the universe is conspiring to support us. Are those just coincidences, or is there something more to it? We'll explore that in part 3. Welcome back. You know those times when everything just seems to fall into place perfectly? Those moments where the right people and opportunities appear just when you need them. We're talking about synchronicities.
Those seemingly magical moments where the universe seems to be conspiring to support you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Are they just coincidences, or is there something more going on? I've always been fascinated by synchronicities, but I've also wondered if I'm just reading too much into random events.
It's a great question. And while some might dismiss synchronicities as mere chance occurrences, what's really fascinating is that research suggests there's a neural basis for how we perceive and interpret these events.
So it's not just about the events themselves, it's about how our brains make sense of them.
Precisely. Our brains are wired to seek patterns to connect the dots. And sometimes in that process, we create meaning where there might not objectively be any.
So our perception plays a huge role in whether we experience something as a synchronicity or just a random event. And that makes me wonder if our intentions and beliefs influence what we perceive as meaningful coincidences.
That's a really insightful observation. When we're deeply engaged with an intention, our brains become primed to notice opportunities and connections that we might otherwise overlook. It's like our brains become these super-powered pattern detectors tuned into anything that resonates with our goals.
So it's not just about sitting back and waiting for the universe to deliver. It's about actively cultivating an awareness of these moments and taking advantage of the opportunities they present.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing that we're not isolated individuals. We're part of a larger web of interconnectedness. And when we align ourselves with our intentions, we tap into that web, opening ourselves up to a flow of support and guidance.
That makes me think of Amandine Roche's story. Remember how she was determined to reach Kabul even though she faced so many obstacles?
Right.
But through a series of synchronicities and unexpected encounters, she achieved her goal.
It was amazing.
Her journey was a perfect example of how synchronicities can play a role in manifesting our desires. She didn't force her way to Kabul. She surrendered to the flow of events, trusting that the right people and opportunities would appear at the right time.
And they did. It's important to note that she wasn't just passively waiting. She was actively pursuing her intention, putting herself out there and taking inspired action. That's what created the conditions for those synchronicities to occur.
So it's a combination of intention, action, and openness to the unexpected.
Exactly. And the more we pay attention to those synchronicities, the more we acknowledge them and even express gratitude for them, the more powerful they become.
It's like we're strengthening that connection to the web of interconnectedness you mentioned earlier. We're telling the universe, we're paying attention, we're open to receiving your guidance.
Precisely. And that open receptivity, that willingness to embrace the unexpected, is what amplifies those synchronicities, creating a momentum that propels us towards our goals.
Okay, so we're not just manifesting things. We're manifesting a way of being in the world, a state of awareness and alignment that allows us to tap into a flow of support and guidance. But how do we cultivate this awareness? Are there specific practices we can use to notice those synchronicities more often?
One powerful practice is to simply start paying attention. Keep a journal. Make notes of those moments where things seem to fall into place effortlessly, where unexpected connections emerge, or where seemingly random events lead you closer to your goals.
So it's like we're training our brains to become more aware of these patterns, to see the magic that's already happening all around us. I love that idea. But let's be real. Life isn't always a magical fairy tale. What about those times when we face setbacks, when it feels like we're moving further away from our goals? How do we stay positive and aligned when things get tough?
That's where the practices we've already discussed come in. Remember the power of self-compassion, the importance of releasing expectations, and the transformative art of kintsugi. These practices provide a foundation for navigating challenges with grace and resilience.
So even when we encounter those withered leaves, those setbacks and disappointments, we can still trust that we're on the right path, that those challenges are simply part of the process.
Exactly. And sometimes those challenges lead to even greater synchronicities, even more profound opportunities for growth and transformation.
That reminds me of Lynn Twist's story.
Mm.
Remember how she contracted malaria and had to completely step back from her work? It was a major setback, but it ultimately led her to a new, even more impactful purpose.
It did. It really highlights the importance of embracing the unexpected, of trusting that even in the midst of challenges, there's a larger plan unfolding.
So it's not about avoiding setbacks or pretending that everything is always perfect. It's about seeing those challenges as opportunities for growth, for recalibration, and for even greater alignment with our true purpose.
Precisely. And when we approach life with that open-hearted receptivity, that willingness to embrace the unknown, we create the conditions for synchronicities to flourish, leading us towards a reality that's even more fulfilling than we could have imagined.
This has been an incredible deep dive. We've explored the science behind manifesting learned practical techniques for rewiring our brains and discovered the power synchronicities. But before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final thought. If our brains don't distinguish between real and imagined experiences, what are you choosing to create in your mind right now? Let's make it something amazing. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into manifestation. Go make some magic happen.
We hope you're leaving with fresh insights and a spark of inspiration. Remember to subscribe, leave a review, and check back for more episodes as we dive into new worlds of thought, one book at a time. Until then, keep your mind set in stone and your curiosity open. This has been a Big L Riz Media podcast, where big ideas meet lasting impressions.